I just want to say hi to everyone joining us. Some people are still dropping in, so we'll give them another minute or two.
Thank you.
All right, as people continue to join us, if I could have a representative from each of the student organizations who are joining us today, just let me know who you are representing. That would be wonderful. I just want to make sure that your organization is accounted for.
Hey, Kelly, we're here with Theta Phi Alpha.
Thanks, Abby.
I'm Kendra, and I am here for the Social Studies Club.
Could you repeat that one more time, Kendra?
The Social Studies Club.
Thank you, Kendra. Awesome.
I'm Courtney, and I'm here for the Social Media Strategist Club.
Okay, thank you, Courtney. Okay. Any other representatives out there from different clubs?
I'm here with the SWAP Club.
Okay, great. All right. Anybody I'm missing? I'm gonna go ahead and kick things off otherwise. No? Well, big group here today. It's wonderful to see so many of you here on the presentation, and thank you to the Career Development Center for hosting today's presentation, which is called Finances and Future Employment. So this is where money and career merge. We're going to give you some information that will be beneficial as you start your career, but also information that you can apply right now if you are even just working a part-time job. My name is Kellyanne Ryan. I am the manager of PSECU on campus. PSECU is the Pennsylvania State Employees Credit Union. A credit union is like a bank. So if you are unfamiliar with the term, that is quite all right. Many people are. We are like a bank. We offer the same services like checking accounts and savings accounts. We also do everything from auto loans to mortgages. The big difference between credit unions and banks is that credit unions are not for profit, and they are member owned. So we exist to serve our members, and we believe that people should not need to pay to do their own banking. We're the largest credit union in Pennsylvania with 500,000 members, and we've been with Kutztown University since 2001. And just like we know it's important to save students and members money with our products and services, we also know that you can do the best with your finances when you are educated. And we are so proud to sponsor programs just like this one. Shout out to Sam from Career Development as well, who will be moderating the chat today. Sam, you are welcome to interrupt me at any point if there's something I'm missing in the chat. And for those of you who are participating today, if you are comfortable just unmuting and asking a question, you are also welcome to interrupt me at any time. I see that Corinne has put a note in the chat that they are here to represent AIGA. I will write that down. Thank you. Great. And I will go ahead and start sharing my screen now. All right. All right. So finances and future employment. We're going to start with the basics. In fact, we're going to go very, very basic. And here on your screen, you will see a pay stub. And You know, the thing about pay stubs is we just don't really look at them much anymore. So many of us are paid by direct deposit, and that means our pay stub is housed somewhere in an internal network. Like you may have an employee network that you can log into to access information like your pay stub. And in fact, any of you who work for KU, you most likely have a system that you can log into. And because we have to take the action of logging into a system and actually pulling up a pay stub, some of us might not be looking at these as much as we should, but they're really important documents, something that we can definitely check over for accuracy. And they also include important summaries, like all of the deductions coming from our pay. It would show us our gross pay versus our net pay. And our gross pay, that's the bigger number. That's the number we all wish we could take home. It's the number that is our total pay before deductions for whatever our set period of earning is. It could be 2 weeks, it could be a month. Many employers actually pay on a monthly basis right now. Most of my former employers paid me only once per month, which was actually a really huge adjustment for me because I was used to being paid twice a month at my former jobs. So, you know, as you get out into the career world, it can be really helpful to know how often you will be paid, but your gross pay will reflect your total earnings for that particular period. Now, your net pay is the amount of earnings that you receive after the deductions come out of your gross pay. And there are many, many deductions. This is money subtracted from your gross pay and diverted elsewhere. Some of these deductions may be mandatory. Some may be different electives, like health insurance, for example. So your pay stub will summarize the total deductions. So it will total them all up for you and show you what's coming out of that gross pay. Here are some other key terms. This period, again, that means the pay period for which the check is being issued, and year to date, meaning the total amount of earnings from the beginning of the calendar year to the present. And actually, year to date is really, really handy. You might need to estimate your annual pay at some point. For example, I get students in my office who are applying for credit cards. On the credit card application, it asks their annual earnings. And if you're an hourly worker, you may not know how to estimate these. So it's really helpful to look at your last pay stub and see what you've made so far. That can help you project out for the rest of the year and come up with a pretty accurate estimate of annual earnings. Almost 30% of your income can be diverted to various deductions. So let's talk about those. Naturally, you have your federal, state, city, municipal tax. You would also have deductions coming out for Medicare, Social Security, and FICA. Here are some of the deductions you may elect to pay toward: health insurance, dental insurance, vision insurance, health savings accounts, life insurance, and retirement. These other deductions are forms of non-monetary compensation. So as you get out and you are ready to accept a job offer, your prospective employer will offer you a salary. That salary is going to obviously be important for you to know so that you can create a budget and make sure that you can sustain your cost of living within the means of that salary. But in addition to the salary, are there forms of non-monetary compensation that you can really take advantage of? These are kind of summarized as benefits. Health, dental, vision insurance. These are important benefits, and typically companies will pay a portion, and you may have opportunities to decrease your premium by how much you pay into your health benefits as well. Your company may offer you life insurance, which becomes important, especially a little bit later in life, as you may acquire a home loan or you may have dependents. If you were to become deceased, how would those dependents be supported? How would your mortgage be paid off? So that's where life insurance becomes valuable. It's something that, you know, when I was younger, earlier in my career, I didn't really think too much about, but now that I do have dependents, I understand the real value in life insurance. Obviously, health insurance, dental insurance, the services we get from doctors and dentists, these can also come with a hefty price tag, and not all insurance plans are created equal. So as you are comparing starting salaries through your prospective employers, you may also want to compare benefit packages, because the better benefits can also save you some money in the long run. Non-monetary compensation may also include loan forgiveness opportunities, particularly those of you who may be going out into the public sector. Now, here's what I'll say about loan forgiveness. From what I have found, loan forgiveness is tough. It's tough to achieve it. It's very, very specific. Now, I've only looked into it really for the field of education. I happen to be married to a first grade teacher, and we did look into loan forgiveness to see if he would qualify. He would need to have a very specific type of student loan. He would need to work for a specific type of district for a specific amount of years, and the ways that summers and breaks play into it. It's all very, very specific. So when it comes to loan forgiveness, do your research, talk to advisors, talk to people in your field, because if you assume that you will be granted loan forgiveness, you might be really, really shocked to find out that it can be kind of tough to achieve. So at this point, as a student, I definitely recommend looking into loan forgiveness in detail to see if it's something that you might qualify for. Now, something that is easier to achieve and is an amazing benefit that you will find at some employers is tuition assistance. So if you are interested in furthering your educational career, then look for those employers who may offer a tuition benefit. Jobs in higher education are a great example. If you work for an institution of higher learning, then chances are they might include tuition assistance as part of their package, and that would just save you thousands and thousands of dollars. I took advantage of tuition assistance. It's how I acquired my master's degree, mostly for free. After I got married, my husband also took advantage of the spouse tuition assistance that my university was offering. He acquired his master's degree for free. I can't even imagine how much money this has saved us over the years. And now that I'm not working in education anymore, but I am working for a financial company, I'm really happy to say that PSECU even offers tuition assistance. They offer a pretty substantial amount. It would definitely allow me to chip away at, an additional degree if I wanted to do that. So again, as you compare job offers, really look at those benefits and see what they have. Other perks that you may find would be on-site facilities like cafeterias, daycares, gyms. So not only would these facilities potentially save you money, but they would also save you time. If you're the type of person who likes to work out, imagine what a time saver it is to be able to do that right on site. If you can just arrive at work a little bit early, or maybe work out during your lunch break, after work. Time is money, and gas is also very expensive right now. So those on-site perks are really, really beneficial. Other forms of non-monetary compensation would be EAP counseling. EAP stands for Employee Assistance Programs. These are basically hotlines that employees can call if they need quick advice. So if you need help finding a doctor in your area, if you are maybe facing a mental health crisis and you don't know where to start, this is a hotline that you can call and you can get some advice. You can even call with some very, very basic legal questions. And I see EAP counseling often pretty regularly with the employers that I have worked for over the years. So if you see it, that's what it is. Employers may offer you incentives to quit smoking. They may offer you prescription or medical supply discount programs, incentives for carpooling, and incentives for using public transportation. All different benefits that can just save you additional money. Employee discounts are are also pretty common. There are a number of industries where you may get a great employee discount if you work for that company. My sister happens to work for Crayola. She works for the Crayola Experience, and she gets 2 free admissions there every single month. And as a mom of 2 young kids, I take advantage of that. So that is a great discount that I, as a family member, benefit from. But even different workplaces might offer you discounts on car rentals, travel, movie tickets. You never know. They're usually housed within some sort of intranet or hub that you have access to as an employee. And it's good to remember that they're there because they, again, could save you some money. Awesome. We had a comment in the chat about obtaining life insurance when you're young. Yes, if you go out and you want to purchase your own life insurance, the younger you do that, definitely it could cost less. So, as you graduate, get your career going, start saving for retirement. Maybe you even want to get a personal financial planner who can advise you when it comes to those type of decisions. Absolutely a great comment in there. All right. We talked about non-monetary forms of compensation, but let's talk about some of the hidden costs of employment. Sometimes we need to spend our own money to do our jobs. And right off the bat, work attire. Especially when you go out and get that first job, you may need to invest in some pieces for your wardrobe. And a recommendation that I have is to really start your job, dress well your first week, maybe even overdress a little bit more your first week, but try to get a sense of how people really dress your place so that you don't invest in a wardrobe that is not appropriate. It could really just be a waste of money. This happened to me. So when I started with PSECU, I read the employee handbook and I saw that PSECU had a casual dress code. Our corporate headquarters is in Harrisburg. We are a digital credit union. So the vast majority of our workforce can dress down because they're behind the scenes. They're doing customer service, they're doing IT, security. They don't face customers on a daily basis. I did buy some casual pieces only to find out that because I work on a campus in a center where I do interact with the community face to face, I actually still need to dress up every day. So really important to understand exactly what you need before you purchase a wardrobe. You also want to consider your transportation costs. Where you may need to pay for parking. Also public transportation and the cost of bus fare. Are you going to purchase it weekly, monthly? What's really the best way to do that? As you consider transportation cost, it can also play into where you're going to live. When I think of folks who want to pursue careers in a big city, it becomes that question of, do I want to live where it's convenient? In the city itself, cost of living is going to be higher. Or do I want to live outside of the city and cost of living is lower, but I may pay additional costs for commuting? So this is what you really just need to analyze, do your research, figure out what the costs will be so that you can make an appropriate job decision and make an appropriate living arrangement / commuting arrangement for yourself. Your profession may expect you to participate in organizations, and there could be fees associated with those. Now, many employers will pay your dues or your fees for being in these associations. An example of one that wouldn't might be education. If you think about teachers' unions, it's not mandatory to be in a union, but there are various benefits that come with it. And union dues are typically, I believe, around $400 per year. So that is an out-of-pocket cost that you would have if you were going into education. So just know about those professional organizations. It's something that you can hopefully talk to someone in your field about, talk to an advisor about, so that you know what to expect. Supplies as well. I also think of supplies when I think of education, classroom supplies that many teachers shell out their own money for. Maybe you're going to be a freelancer, maybe you're an artist, photographer. There are supplies that come into play there as well. Any questions about the cost of employment or about non-monetary compensation before we move on to the next chapter of this presentation? All right. How do your past and present finances affect your future employment? The decisions that you make now regarding money will affect your future. And this plays out in terms of credit and your credit report. Your credit report is an overview of you and your financial history, and it includes information like your name, address, social security number, birthday, all of the accounts that you have open. It also includes information as to whether you pay your bills on time. So that's the credit report. It's a detailed overview of you and your financial history. Now, the credit score is a grade. It's the score that's assigned to show potential lenders how likely you are to repay a loan or a debt. The better the score, the more likely you are to be approved to borrow money. Scores usually range from 300 to 850. So as you get toward the upper 700s into 800, those are some great credit scores. You would not only be able to borrow money, but your good behaviors would also be rewarded with lower interest rates. And of course, lower interest rates means less out of pocket over the term of that loan. You can actually view your own credit report so that you can see how you're doing, make sure it's accurate, make sure that if you are making your payments on time, that that's being reflected. But by the way, your future employers can also look at a modified version of your credit report. They typically will pull your credit to kind of get a gauge on your character. They want to see if you are a responsible person, and your credit history can be an indication of that. So increasingly, we are seeing employers from a variety of fields pull credit as part of their onboarding process. This modified credit report would not contain super personal information like the account numbers themselves, your date of birth, any references to spouses. It would contain info about your loans and credit cards, particularly if you do pay those on time. These are the industries where we typically find employers pulling credit reports. You see financial services on there, pharmaceutical, defense, industries where there is a great level of responsibility on the employees. Like I said before, we are seeing it used in other fields, and I even have had my credit pulled for every college and university that I have worked for over the years. How can you monitor your own credit? You're entitled to a free copy of your credit report from each of the 3 reporting bureaus every 12 months. And you can visit annualcreditreport.com for details. Annualcreditreport.com is a website that's backed by the federal government. It is the official place to go to check your credit report for free. And if you wanted to do this, it's really important that you get the website right. You don't want to be on a fraudulent website. You don't want to pay for your credit report. Remember, this is the one that the federal government backs. It's important that we look at our credit report at least once a year because we do want to check it for accuracy, and we also want to check it for fraud. So if we have any upperclassmen here on the presentation today, I think, for you especially, I would recommend checking your credit report at this point in your college career. It's even a great goal to set for yourself over winter break. Once things slow down a little bit and you might have some time to kind of tackle some personal projects. When it comes to credit scores, no one's required to provide you a credit score for free. However, you might be able to obtain your credit score for free from your own financial institution. PSECU is really proud to offer that for free to our members. So if you are a member, just go into your mobile app, opt into the free FICO score service, and within a month, you'll get your first credit score. You'll get it every month after that as well. When I say FICO score, FICO is a brand of credit score. It's actually the main brand of credit score. It's the score that most lenders look at when they decide if they're going to approve your loan application. So that's what that means. But through your own financial institution, you may see something called a Vantage credit score. That score is a little bit different. You'll see that it's not 100% consistent with the FICO scoring, but it's close enough that if you were to compare the two, they shouldn't be super far apart. Just going to check the chat here. Awesome. Thank you, Stephen, for that comment there about upperclassmen attending today's presentation. So this info is perfect for you. I also have a credit card that provides me my credit score for free once per month. So even if you don't bank with PSECU, see if you can get your credit score for free from one of your credit card companies, your bank, your credit union. If you want to use a website, like one of the ones you may have heard advertised on TV or radio to access your credit score, do your homework before you just enter your personal information anywhere. You want to make sure that you're on a legitimate website. You don't want to give anybody your social security number who doesn't need it. So do your homework, check user reviews, make sure you feel safe obtaining your credit score from a for-profit website. Any questions about obtaining your credit report, obtaining your credit score before we move on? We talked a little bit about employers looking at your credit report and why they might want to do that. But keep in mind that aside from employers looking at your credit report, building a healthy credit history is also going to benefit you for those future financial goals, like acquiring that first car loan and maybe even home ownership. That's a lot of people's ultimate financial goal. So good behaviors would set you up for success when it comes to acquiring that home loan one day. We have a question from Jesse. Jesse, you can feel free to unmute if you would like.
Okay, can you see me?
I can, thank you.
Okay, hey, glad to be in one of your meetings again.
Thank you.
So you were saying no one has to give you a free credit check. So I have Credit Karma because they really hooked me with their commercials and
Yeah.
it was great marketing, which I'll give them that. That was good marketing. Anyway, what's the difference between the TransUnion score and the Equifax score?
Okay, so there are 3 credit reporting bureaus: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. And not only do they all house your credit information and you can obtain a report from each of those, they also calculate the scores, and credit scores can be calculated in probably an infinite number of ways. There are a variety of different algorithms that lenders and credit bureaus use to calculate your score. And the fact of the matter is sometimes lenders want to see different information, like a score that a home loan lender might want to look at might value different behaviors than like a credit card score for a credit card application. And I know this can be confusing. The general rule of thumb is the higher your credit score, the better off you're going to be when it comes to applying for any of these type of products. So that's really the name of the game. But when you see your general FICO score, your general Vantage score, you know, lenders can even kind of calculate things in a more specific way than even what those scores tell us. You know, the biggest attribute making up any of our credit scores is payment history. We'll get into that in this section, but you always want to pay your bills on time because no matter the credit score, that's going to be the biggest piece of the puzzle. So if you're wondering, well, what habit can I do right now to make sure I set myself up for success, it's paying your bills on time. So there are differences, there are different calculations, but higher the score, the better, and paying bills on time is like the #1 factor influencing credit scores. Great question, Jesse, thank you. So let's continue to talk about some tips for building healthy credit. I'm just going to check my time here as well. #1 is consider credit cards carefully. You can shop around for credit cards, obviously, and you should. Consider the interest rates. Get the credit card with the lowest interest rate that you can. Now, hopefully you can pay your credit card balance off in full every month. When you pay your credit card in full every month, you do not pay interest on that month's charges. However, if you keep a balance, interest will accrue on the remaining balance. And you might be in a position where you have to do that one day. maybe money is tight, you're switching jobs, you got a new job, you had to move. There could be a reason why you can't pay your credit card bill off in full 1 month. And if you can't, that's where you need to have the lowest interest rate possible so that you don't end up drowning in interest rate debt one day. So shop around and compare those interest rates. Although this website that I'm about to tell you is not endorsed by PSECU, I really like NerdWallet. It's kind of my go-to for comparing credit cards. It'll give me an estimated credit score that I would need to acquire that credit card. And it'll also show me user reviews and interest rates. So that's a good place to compare cards. Only purchase items you can pay off in full. I was just talking about this. So if you want to build credit, use it regularly, but only purchase items that you can pay off in full. That way you pay off the total balance every month. You don't have a remaining balance that's accruing interest. Remember, interest charges are more money out of your pocket. Understand the terms and conditions, and one of those terms might be an annual fee. To be honest with you, there is very little reason that you should be paying an annual fee. Now, I do see annual fees as an attribute of some rewards credit cards out there, but you really have to do the math and make sure that any rewards you would be receiving would be greater than the annual fee that you are paying. The rewards really build up at a very slow rate typically, and annual fees could be $100. So again, compare credit cards, shop around. There are great credit cards out there that do not include an annual fee. So in my opinion, these should be avoided. They're not really going to benefit you. Number 4, we can't say it enough. Make all of your payments on time. Number 5, monitor your credit report and your credit score. Some people are afraid to do this. Number 1, they don't know how. Well, now you do know how. Annualcreditreport.com. That will allow you to pull a copy of your credit report from each of the 3 reporting bureaus. Now, those reports may include your credit score, but we also talked about the fact that your own financial institution or your credit card company, they may also provide you your credit score for free. And Jesse brought up Credit Karma. They do have a lot of advertising. As far as I am aware, they are truly free. A lot of people use them. Full disclosure, I do my taxes through them. Haven't had any problems, but that's just me talking. I'm not talking on behalf of PSECU. They are for profit. They will email you advertisements. They want to market you different products and services. And I don't know whether or not they sell your email address. So again, they are free, but do your homework. Make sure you know what you're signing up for. But it is good to check your credit report and your credit score. And by the way, if you check these things yourself, it will not make your score go down. Some people fear that when they check their own credit, it will cause their credit score to go down. When you check your own credit, that does not happen. Now, if a lender checks your credit, it does happen. And that's because you're getting ready to take on a new risk. If you apply for an auto loan, you're going to have to prove that you can be trusted with that auto loan and that you can make those payments on time. And once you start doing that, your score will bounce back up. So new loans and new credit cards, even new bank accounts, do result in a temporary lowering of your credit score. If you need additional help understanding your loans, your credit cards, their terms, there are places that you can turn to for help. You could go to your credit union or financial institution. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Your loan servicers. So if we think about student loans, some students may not know who their loan servicers are, like who is kind of facilitating your student loan. You can actually acquire that information from the National Student Loan Data System, and financial aid can give you more information about that if you want it. But there is a national data system that you can log into using your personal information that will show you your student loans. It'll show you who services those student loans. And I believe it can even show you a projection of what your monthly payments will be after graduation. So definitely talk to financial aid if you need help understanding your student loans. But when we talk about other loans and other credit cards, if you would ever find yourself in a position where you can't make your monthly payment on time, be proactive. Don't be afraid to call your lender or your credit card company. If you lose your job, if something happens, you can't make that payment on time, call them, see if there's something they can do. Can they reduce your payment? Can they move your due date? Can they even let you skip a payment? Any of these things might be possible, and it's better to try to ask about those options than to just flat out miss a payment. On the Kutztown University campus, I am certainly a resource for you. I'm a certified credit union financial counselor, and that means that I can talk to students about banking basics, building credit, and student loans. Those are kind of the topics that I specialize in, and our office is conveniently located in MSU 280, which is next to the info desk in McFarland. I'm happy to help any student who has some basic questions. Before we talk about PSECU's promotion, this is sort of our like word from our sponsor section of the presentation. Do we have any questions about anything, or maybe anything I didn't cover? All right, and that is okay. You can find my email address there on the screen. You can always reach out after this presentation. Students do that all the time. They would prefer to just reach out to me afterward, and you can do that. You can reach out and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. And I do want to close with just a brief advertisement about banking with PSECU. If you've never shopped around for a bank account, I encourage you to do that. And we would love if you would consider us as an option. We are not for profit, and therefore you won't find the same type of fees with PSECU that you might find elsewhere. Abby, are you still able to kind of give a shout out about PSECU? Is that okay with you? Abby is one of my PSECU student ambassadors on campus, and she represents our office at different events and to different student groups.
Yeah, I'm here. So right now we're doing that. You do get $100 if you sign up for the digital banking, which if you're a student, you would want to be using digital banking anyway. And I can just put the link in the chat for anyone who might be interested in that, because you can apply online or you can come down and visit Kellyanne in the office.
Absolutely. And if you do visit me in the office, please let me know that you attended this presentation. Otherwise, please apply with the link that Abby shared. It will apply this promotion directly, and it also credits Abby as our student ambassador. We would love to have you check us out. And definitely, again, compare those fees. We might be able to save you a little bit of money. I will put my contact information back on the screen one more time in case anybody still needs it. And that's everything I have for you. I would again like to thank the Career Development Center for hosting this fabulous presentation. We appreciate your partnership. And for those of you in attendance, thank you for being here. And I wish you all the best as your semester wraps for fall 21.